Welcome to another video, and thank you for being part of this community. In today's video, I want to speak about how you can negotiate for a higher salary in your current job. There are so many reasons why you need to negotiate for a higher salary in your current job. One of them being the increased cost of living that has seen the prices of everything go high. So you need to request for a higher pay so that you're able to meet all your needs comfortably. Another reason that may trigger your need to request for a higher pay is when your value in the organization has increased. How do you know that your value in the organization has increased? Number one is when your scope of work has been expanded. Another way to know when your value has increased in the organization is when you're having so many achievements that are directly influencing the business performance. So without further ado, let's get into it. My name is Nelia Kungu and I'm glad to have you here today. So I'm going to share 10 practical points on how you can go about any salary negotiation conversation with your boss successfully. Salary negotiation conversations are not the easiest ones, and they usually bring a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear, and sometimes you can get you prepare so well to go and have a conversation with your boss, and when you get to your boss, you're lost for words and you're not able to articulate or communicate and even convey the message the way you want it to convey it. So that is why it is so important that you understand how you can go through this conversation and not just go it, but go through it successfully. So let's get into it. The first point that you need to consider when going for salary negotiation in your current job with your boss is to conduct research. So why do you need to conduct research? You need to conduct research to understand the market rate and the market pay. So how do you do this? You can have a conversation with people who are in similar jobs as you, so that to just get within that similar industry, how are people being paid, people with the same qualifications, people with the same experience, and people who are doing the same job as you. How much are they being paid? So by the time you're going to your boss to have this conversation, you have the figure, and it also helps you to be able to come up with the correct figure that you want to be paid. Number 2 point to consider when going to negotiate for a higher pay in your current job is conduct your self-evaluation. The whole reason you're triggered to go and ask for a pay rise is because you think your value has increased, or because you believe you're valuable to the organization. By evaluating your value, you need to keep track of all the accomplishments that you have, or that you have in your job in a period of time, let's say within a period of 1 year. So keep track of all these accomplishments so you're able to go and have a conversation with your boss. This is what you have accomplished, and this is how it has helped the business, or this is how it has improved the business performance. So when you have achievements that can be traced or that can be tracked back, then you're able to convince your boss that you're actually ready for that pay rise. So also when you're doing a self-evaluation, it is important that as you have a conversation about this accomplishment, you need to show how these accomplishments have impacted business directly, so you're able to quickly convince you, or rather easily convince your boss that you deserve that pay rise. Another point to consider when having this conversation is to come up with a brag book. So basically what a brag book does is it lists all the responsibilities that you have, but it does not only list, but it needs to list them and show how you've been able to achieve these responsibilities and go beyond the required responsibilities. So these are the responsibilities that most likely are in your JD. So if you're able to show that you've gone beyond your JD in your current job, then you can ask for a pay rise and easily convince your boss that you deserve that pay rise. So as you also create your brag book, please remember to rank these accomplishments or achievements in terms of value. Which one has brought more value? Which achievement has brought more value into the business? So you need to arrange them in terms of the impact that they brought to the organization. Then again, you need to highlight those areas that you believe you've gone far and beyond what is expected in your brag book. So basically, a brag book is just a list of those accomplishments and how you've been able to go beyond your expected work, your expected daily work, or your JD, to be able to add more value to the business. Because You need to have it at the back of your mind that the most important thing is to, in all this conversation, as you come up with this conversation, the most important thing is to be able to show your boss that you have added value into the business. Then again, another point that you need to consider, or rather you need to do, is to quantify your achievement. Now, talking about achievements alone is not enough, because anyone else, even within your team, maybe have had achievements. Then again, how do you quantify them? For example, if you're going to tell your boss that you've been able to increase sales, or because you're better, your sales skills are on a top notch or are on another level. So when maybe giving this example to your boss, you say maybe because of this better sales skills that you have, you've been able to increase sales, and these sales have been able to increase the company's profit by this percentage. So you need to quantify, and you need to be very specific about your achievements. So when you're having this conversation and you quantify the achievement, for example, another example is if you've been able to train the members of your team, then you need to be able to say, because you're good at training and because you have advanced your training skills, you've been able to train this number, maybe let's say 10 members of your team, and they are now able to work independently. Another point that you need to consider and you need to put in your conversation is to be able to state what is going to be different, because your boss will want to see what is it that you will do better after this pay rise. So after the pay rise, you can tell your boss that you'll be able to show how this pay rise will be able to even increase your value for the organization. Because the rule is, the higher the pay, the more the responsibility, the more the expectations. So are you going to be able to keep up with these new expectations? And if your salary is reviewed to what you want, what new thing are you going to bring? So for example, you can tell your boss that you'll be able to expand your responsibilities. You'll be able to go beyond what is expected of you. For example, if you used to come to work maybe earlier, it is the time now you can have even an extra time at work, so that you're able to justify what more value will this salary increment come with for your boss. Another important point you need to consider is to practice your pitch. So you need to practice how you're going to have this conversation, because salary conversations are not the best. They're not the easiest. Sometimes you know what to say, but when you get in front of your boss, or when you get to your boss's office, all of a sudden all the words disappear. So practicing helps you master how to have this conversation. So you can do this in front of a mirror, or you can do it with a friend that you trust, so they are able to tell you if you've grasped all the points. Those points that you'd listed in your brag book, you've put them. Those achievements that you had highlighted, you've put them. Those accomplishments and the impacts that they've had in the job, you've put them. So when you have this conversation with a trusted friend, or when you practice in front of a mirror, then you're able to own your presentation skills and hack it when you go to have this conversation, and now finally with your boss. Another point that you need to consider, which is very important, is on timing. The reason you need to consider timing is because, to be realistic, you can't ask for a pay rise when the business is not making money. So you need to ask for a pay rise at the time when your business, or when the business is making money, the business is making profit, and possibly there's a positive vibe around the organization. Then that increases the chances of having your request considered. If you ask for a pay rise when the business is in losses, there are higher chances that that request will not be considered, guys. So you need to ask for a pay rise at the right time, and the right time is when the business is making money. Another good time to ask for a pay rise is during your performance appraisal. That time when you're having a performance appraisal with your line manager, you can bring up this conversation, especially when you have performed well. So when you've performed well, you're able to justify why you need a pay rise. Another good time to have this conversation is during the time when the company is coming up with the annual budget. Why it is a good time to come up with this conversation at this time is because it increases your chances of being accepted, because at this time your request can be factored into the company's budget, rather than when you ask it when the company has already come up with a financial year's budget. So the company may not be able to fix your request within that financial year's budget. So time is everything, and it is important that you consider to put across your request at the right time. Another key thing that you need to consider is do not apologize. The reason I say you do not apologize is, most of the time when people are going to have this conversation, they will go like, I'm sorry, but I would like my pay rise to go from this to this. I'm sorry, but I felt it is time that I need to ask for a pay rise. I'm sorry, but I felt it is time to that my salary ought to have been reviewed. You don't need to be sorry if you have fact why your salary should be reviewed. You don't need to be sorry if you're very sure that your performance throughout the year or within a specific time has actually been of value or actually been on track. And you don't have to be sorry if you know that you've added value to the organization. So please avoid being sorry. Avoid using those statements of "you're sorry," "I'm sorry," and all that. Another key point and another key thing that you can consider when having this conversation, guys, is to consider any objection. Like any other conversation, your request can be declined. Then what do you do when your request is declined? And there can be a number of reasons why your request can be declined. So what do you do when your request is declined? It is not the time to be rude. It's not the time to threaten your employer. You know, if you don't grant me this request, I'll resign. It is not the time that you're going to show your employer moods or to turn rude or to now cease from working hard or doing better at your job. So in the instance that this request is declined, guys, then you need to stay calm. You need to stay calm, and you still need to maintain professionalism and maintain respect as when you're going to when you're having this conversation with your employer. So it is not the time to walk out, bang the door and all that. So thank you, employer, and ensure as you end that conversation, agree on a time, because sometimes you'll ask for that request, then your employer can tell you, can we have this conversation another time? Can we have this conversation? Can we review your performance after 3 months, after 6 months, and have this conversation again? So agree on that time and document it. Another important point is to always keep it professional. Sometimes you can be tempted to put across personal reasons, like when you're going to request for salary and begin to tell your boss, you know, I'm requesting for a pay rise because I moved to a more expensive house. I'm requesting for a pay rise because, you know, my children just started school. I'm requesting for a pay rise because of this and that, which is personal. So please stop mentioning personal reasons. As I already said, the most important thing is that you're tabling the value that you're adding to the organization. You've already spoken about your accomplishment. You've already spoken about how they've impacted the organization. You've already had your brag book and you've listed all your responsibilities and how you've been able to go beyond the responsibilities. Then you're now at a better place to ask for a pay rise without mentioning anything personal. So keep it as professional as possible. Then you're able to hack and have a very successful conversation. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope this video has helped someone to know how to do it better next time. And next time you're going to have a salary conversation with your boss, you'll definitely do better. I would like to continue with this conversation in the comment section, and I request you to share and leave on the comment section. Just share the topics that you want me to speak about, the topics that you want us to learn more about. Then I'll be sure to make videos around those topics in the next videos. Thank you so much for watching, and if you're not subscribed to this channel, please click that subscribe button and put the notification on so you're able to get notified whenever I put on a new video. Thank you.